Well, we are a little bit over a month until Digimon Story Time Stranger releases, cannot believe we can say that, and today they unveiled the Digimon Story Time Stranger story trailer. The trailer going over the entire setup to this game. And while it does contain spoilers, I don't think it's going to contain as much spoilers as you might think. They are still clearly keeping a lot close to their chest, but on today's video, and with a spoiler warning, I'm going to break down that brand new story trailer. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to new Digimon Story Time Stranger footage! Yes! God, I'm so excited. If you're excited too for Digimon Story Time Stranger and beyond, make sure you like and please subscribe to this channel. I would love to hit 100,000 subs in the next 12 months. Thank you. Alright, so the trailer opens in an old school theater, counting down to the spoilers. We get a voice which turns out to be Junomon later in the trailer, telling us about Titans creating incursions in the digital world. We see initial Titans as Ogamon and then Kuwagamon, with a representation of the Iliad server in the middle. Then we get something I hadn't considered we'd see in this game, but with the time travel theme makes sense. Areas of the digital world going from their vibrant, happy versions to dark, dilapidated ones. We see the Gear Forest with Muchomon, Hawkmon, Biomon and others, as well as Bacchusmon in the center and then an empty version. Central Town, brimming with life, just like we saw initially, and then a dark version of Central Town filled with, I guess, more evil Digimon. I mean, there's Toyagumon and Volcamon and stuff, but it's giving a more punky, gang-like, dilapidated vibe. And this is actually confirmation that Deltamon is in the game. Love that. Neptunemon's domain, now filled with dark red, awful-looking water and no Digimon life. Then we see our characters. Kanan, or it could be Dan in this situation, depending on which one you pick, Agiomon, his partner Inori, and Minervamon. Now we know this is the party setup for the Parrotmon fight, so whether this footage takes place before that or after that, we're not quite certain, though I think it's likely it could be before, and we depart from Junomon's temple to the sewers entering Central Town, and that's when Agiomon is like, wow, the digital world. So Junomon says that once peace is restored to Iliad, she should be able to open the gate. But what is the gate? Well, it's interesting in what seems to be Junomon's domain in other footage, but notably in the Digiride trailer, you see a lot of angel Digimon, including Clavis Angemon, and funnily enough, his Digimon reference book listing refers to him protecting the Zenith Gate. Whether there's just a little similarity, it could be, I don't know, but it would be interesting if Clavis Angemon is one of the Digimon that's protecting the gate for Junomon. And to open that gate, we need to help the Great Guardian, Agiomon, and well, yeah, Agiomon's probably going to become Jupitermon, so Junomon, his wife, basically, would definitely know how great of a guardian he is. We then see that sweeping familiar vista of Central Town again, Inori saying that she will be sticking with Agiomon no matter what, and that that's what they promised on a starry night back in Shinjuku. And we get even more shots of the real world with Agiomon dressed up like a human, a little bit Mameo-esque, and Inori. I am already loving their partnership. Very exciting. I think it just looks so cool to have these like real slower, more emotional moments in the human world between human and partner. And interestingly, it's apparently Inori, although it could be Kanan. I think it's implying he's talking to Inori here. They might be doing some trailer editing. Either way, a human, probably Inori, found Agiomon in the underground, and we did see some of the underground in the initial trailer and in the system mechanics video. So I feel like some of the very early action of this game is going to be in the underground under Tokyo. We then see the ultimate Brachiomon fight with a Bakemon, Pegasusmon, and Frigimon in our party, and of course Agiomon as a guest. I love that party setup, and that confirms to me that Armor Digimon are going to be able to be unlocked pretty early, as this is one of the like maybe third areas of the game. I don't believe that's a guest Pegasusmon. I think that is a Digimon in our party, one of our three. Also, it seems that Kakuamon is also part of the Ultimate Brachiomon boss fight, which I think is very fun. As an enemy, it seems. Inori remarks on them coming someplace very far away, a different world, and a different time too. We see Kuwagamon in this area, and again that thing that might be Homeros, the host computer that we saw in the first trailer. This time we're accompanied by Sirenmon, parts of the Gear Forest, Frigimon walking through the ice area, which I believe belongs to Dianamon, and then an insane looking area which might be an expanded part of the Factorial area, because if you look at these hands holding this giant sun, those might be familiar later in the trailer. Junomon's domain, a very golden and Gear time looking area, makes a lot of sense. sense. We see Inori catching some like Digimon fireflies and setting them free, and Agumon remarks how he'll always be looking out for her and protecting her. If only I had a theory about what might happen if Agumon didn't protect her. Link in the card. Marukimon then says that he's aware that humans and Digimon can be cooperative, can coexist. He's aware of others like us. Interestingly, that might mean that Marukimon has met human and Digimon partners before. Now again, this is very interesting to me. Kosuke Misono is shown here in his Milady hat, saying, "I realize that life has done nothing but take. And while he's saying that, the footage we see is this giant digital life form, it seems. Almost like an Evangelion or something in this underground facility. Inori bathed in red in Japan as some sort of cataclysm is happening, protecting herself, and this evil red energy, which might be either from the digital life form or Jupitamon Wrath mode. Could this be Inori's father talking about Inori's death in the original timeline? Maybe. And I love this. Inori's father seemingly being a hater of Digimon. You know who's behind all this? Digimon. As we see an egg seemingly hatch into Aegikismon Red. I think that might be a little bit of editing again. I think it might be implying there's an egg hatch, but I think this is actually Aegimon's unique evolution sequence into Aegikismon Red, though I could be wrong. God, he looks so cool and creepy here. Something I've never really noticed before actually is that the little badge that Aegimon wears, that's basically the digital monster logo from the OG days, basically becomes half of his face here with that jagged smile and the black eye hole. We then see Aegikismon Green doing its special move, Aegikismon Blue doing a special move, looking very cool, and I believe this is Dan, although it might not be Dan. Hard to tell voice actors sometimes, talking about things being too dangerous. Then we get a Kuwagamon family onslaught. Gran Kuwagamon, Okuamon, and Kuwagamon all here. Kanan, Inori, and Aegikismon falling down from what looks like behind them that same portal from the first trailer that all the Kuwagamon came through, and landing clutch on Pegasusmon. I do actually wonder if this is the end of the game and the corrected good timeline, maybe. Then we see one of the coolest things I have ever seen in my life. First of all, Skullbalukimon confirmed for this game. We thought it was happening because back in Hacker's memory, Bearmon, Skullbalukimon, and Millenniummon were all cut at the last minute. We've had Bearmon and Millenniummon confirmed, so it's nice to see my boy Skullbalukimon confirmed too, but being ridden by a Titamon is insane. And this lore actually connects straight back to Digimon Crusaders, which was kind of our first Aegiomon Olympus 12 game, because Skullbalukimon was associated with the Titan tribe and Titamon, I guess, in that game too. We see Aegikismon doing some punches and Inori falling through the portal as Aegiomon reaches out for her desperately again, and then the person, whoever it is, I think this is Dan speaking as the non-playable character. So when we play as Kanan, Dan will be our operative back at home. We've known this for a while. He's saying that Aegikismon and Inori are the most likely origin of the anomaly. And what's the anomaly? Well, possibly Digimon coming through to the real world, or possibly the anomaly is that in the original timeline, Inori died, Jupitamon Wrath mode went crazy and caused time travel of some variety to happen, and that's the anomaly. We then see again this insane mecha Evangelion crazy digital life form, which is probably going to be one of, if not the main villain of the game. Birdramon in the real world, ready to combat this threat, with very hard to see forms on the helicopter landing pad. The digital life form reaches out. Aegiomon shields himself from light. And now we meet some characters we've only seen briefly before. These kind of Victorian, poofy dress themed characters. They honestly look like they're from a different video game, like a Hoyoverse game or something. They have yet to receive character profiles on the website. Aegiomon and Inori are classified as Class A anomalies, and we see that similar kind of Greek and Roman pottery painting style that we saw in the intro, now showing Aegiomon and Inori holding hands while they are surrounded by a ring of what looks like fire. Go at once and eliminate Aegiomon. Inori falls through the datascape. We see Aegiomon sleeping. Aegiomon reaches out for Inori. Inori smiles at Aegiomon. Inori, Kanan, and Aegiomon back at the Firefly cutscene. Aegiomon ready to battle. Inori looking fondly on her partner. Aegiomon desperately reaching out, and then that starry night in Shinjuku that they shared. I'm sure Sora and Yozora are battling on top of that building over there. And then we hear it. As all of this builds, showing the entire relationship of Inori and Aegiomon, the narrator, who I believe is Dan, says, eliminate Aegyeomon and Inori. They want to kill Aegyeomon and Inori. Well, that sure could be an unforgivable sin that Jupitermon Wrath Mode might be born from, huh? If Inori was dead and they tried to kill Aegyeomon, that really would be a Greek tragedy. The narration moves back to Junomon, who says that the natural laws of the world have already begun to break down. Jupitermon bursts forth from a portal, his eyes notably glowing red, and yes, this is almost certainly Aegyeomon in his mega form. He's about to kick ass and maybe get wrathful. We see Ceresmon in 3D. Above what does appear to be the Gear Forest, I do think that Sirenmon might digivolve to Ceresmon in this game. Neptunemon looking amazing. Venusmon, oh my god, she's in 3D. She's real. She also appears to be somewhere near the Neptunemon area. In fact, it could be that Neptunemon and Venusmon are sharing an area, which makes sense because of Venusmon's inspiration, the goddess Venus, and Aphrodite springing forth from the ocean in a clamshell. So it could be that rather than 12 distinct areas, there are more like 6 areas that some of the Digimon of the Olympus 12 share. Then we see Volcanusmon in his mech. I talked about this earlier. We could see these fists holding up the sun, and here they are again, I believe. Volcanusmon creating some kind of fight for us, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Bacchusmon, interestingly, here is shown eating, but not in his own area. This looks like a battle windscreen animation, because it's in the same area that we've seen a lot of Digimon debut in when they're showing off their special moves. Dianamon prepares a arrow of ice in her ice domain that we saw earlier. Confirmation of Apollomon looking incredible with stars behind him. Marukimon in what I think might be the human world during its destruction, or at least partial destruction. Marsmon, incredible visuals. Minervamon again doing her battle animation in the area they show off in, I believe, Central Town for animations like this. Junomon, and this purple-haired character with glasses talking about a story of the natural world that's about to begin. Mirai does have a bunch of stuff going on with her digital avatar and changing her age and stuff physically, so maybe this is Mirai. Maybe that's why they ended the trailer on it. It's like, yep, Mirai's here, man. I don't know. And then confirmation again. This game releases on October 3rd, 2025. Really quickly, while I was talking about the Olympus 12 characters, I was really hoping we might see Mervamon in this trailer, but hopefully they are saving it for the final game. It would be crazy if Mervamon's not in this game. Okay, so that I think is a fantastic story trailer. It gives us a ton of setup. Something happened, an anomaly. We've got bad guys. We've got Digimon invading the world. Inori and Aegyeomon are considered anomalies that need to be destroyed, but yet most of this actually we already kind of knew. We knew Jupitermon and Wrath Mode were here. We knew all the Olympus 12 were here. Aegyeomon and Inori were partnering. Something was going on with Aegyeomon and Inori, constantly trying to save her, wanting to be on her side. We knew there was this kind of like Turks-esque Shinra group trying to take down Digimon or trying to protect the world from Digimon in a kind of dapt way. But really, while it feels super spoilerific, I feel like they've actually kept a lot on the down low here. I feel like they easily could have spoiled way more, and I feel like actually by putting everything together we've seen, they haven't. But I do think now, stronger than ever, that my theory about at some point Jupitermon Wrath Mode being triggered by Inori's death, or at least perceived death, maybe she isn't actually killed, but someone in the Adamus group like shoots her or something. I feel really good about my theory from Sunday. If you didn't watch that video, go check out that video now. And the confirmation of the Digimon we've got, obviously all the Olympus 12 were going to be in the game, we knew that. But seeing Skull Balukimon being ridden by Titamon, this is my game of the year, baby. Alright, so there's going to be a new video this Sunday, as well as your bonus Wednesday upload, talking about a bunch of new Digimon that we've seen recently in Time Stranger and beyond. But thank you for watching this one. Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14 and Chaotic Prophet, as well as everyone else who supports this channel over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and my channel members here on YouTube. I appreciate you all so goddamn much. I'll see you next time we go digital. Bye-bye.